good. Hey guys, welcome. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker. Her name is Rita Turchetta. She is going to give you some really helpful information about scholarships and financial aid. I've seen this presentation a number of times, and it never gets old because it's always really good to keep up to date on this material. She covers a lot of really important stuff that I think you guys are going to find super valuable. So we are so thankful for her for coming out today. And also Ruthie Cawood is going to jump in at some point. She's helping a family right now, but they're both here at our disposal tonight. So after the PowerPoint, feel free to stay and take advantage of an opportunity to ask some questions. If you have any specific questions about the application process or any of that, they'd be glad to help. So I'm going to go ahead and open us in prayer before we get started, if you'll pray with me. Dear Heavenly Father, I thank you for each family represented here tonight and those who couldn't come. God, we just pray over them as they work through whatever point they are in this process. God, I know that it can be a very stressful one, Lord, but you promise us that you are Emmanuel, God, with us. And we just pray for your presence and your provision and just for whatever needs may arise, Lord. You see the big picture of everything going on in a way that we can't. And we just thank you for that, and we just depend on you for that. And I just pray for the peace and joy that surpasses understanding that you promise to each of us. Lord, what a gift it is to be able to call upon that and depend upon you through this process, God. I pray that this information would be so helpful to these families and that you would use it to equip them to do the work that they have to get done well, and that you would just go before them and help them to foresee any things that they may need to be aware of through this process, Lord. I thank you for each and every one of them, and I pray over them and lift them up to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you. Thank you guys so much for having me. So my plan is to give you guys about 4 hours of the different types of information and the financial aid process. We're good? No, I'm kidding. It won't be that long. It is boring, so I apologize up front. I apologize, one, because it's boring, and two, public speaking still makes me really nervous. And when I get nervous, I tend to stutter, and when I stutter, I tend to butcher the English language. So I apologize. So if something doesn't make sense or you need clarification, just ask questions. I promise you won't hurt my feelings. All right, so my least favorite slide, it's very wordy, but it's very important, kind of explains why we are here. So COA, the government's big on using acronyms. COA is your cost of attendance. And this is basically a budget that varies from institution to institution. EFC, this is your expected family contribution. This is a number derived when you fill out your FAFSA application. FAFSA, free application for federal student aid. FSA ID is just your username and password. Anybody in here already fill out the FAFSA? You guys already done it? All right. FSA ID, that username and password. SAR, that is your student aid report. This is a report that you will get after you fill out the FAFSA application. Grant, free money based on need. Scholarship, free money awarded on the basis of merit, skill, or a unique characteristic. And finally, verification. This is basically just a random audit. When you fill out your FAFSA application, some students are randomly selected for verification. Just means you're going to have to follow up with the college and provide some additional information. Generally, it's not that you've done anything wrong. They just select a certain number. I've got 3 sons, and all 3 of them, out of all of the 3, the middle one was flagged every single year. Same information, he was flagged every year. So they're not picking on you, they just randomly select students. All right, so we're going to start off with cost of attendance. So cost of attendance is basically direct fees and indirect fees. Again, this is just a budget for 1 year. It consists of living expenses, tuition, transportation, books, but they use this number, this cost of attendance, to determine how much aid they can give your student. Here are some examples of cost of attendance. So your first one, 2-year public. This is actually for Pellissippi or Rome State. If your student's wanting to attend this school for 1 year, cost of attendance total is $12,917. Again, it's just direct fees and indirect fees. Second one, 4-year public school. This is actually for UT. It's actually last year's number, so it probably changed just a little bit. Tuition, $12,000. Room and meals, $10,000. Books and supplies, transportation, miscellaneous. Your total for 1 year is $30,000. This last one is for Vanderbilt, or an out-of-state school. So for Vanderbilt, $44,000 for tuition. For 1 year, they expect you to pay their cost of attendance. Let me go back, because that's key. The cost of attendance for this school is $64,000. Again, this is not necessarily what you're going to have to pay. This is what the institution used to determine how much aid they can give you. I just had to spice it up with the baby picture, sorry. So any school that gives out federal aid is required by law to have a net price calculator on their website. So if you want to check out the cost of attendance at any of the schools that your student is interested in, try the net price calculator to kind of figure out what their cost of attendance is. Some of those costs of attendance also have some built-in scholarship things that you can kind of utilize. Like, I know my student's getting the Hope Scholarship, so this is what they're getting for this, and you can kind of get a better idea of how much you might have to pay for your student to go to school. Again, you're not paying $64,000. I mean, you can if you want to, but you really don't have to, because again, direct fees and indirect fees. Your student may not need transportation. Your student might not want to live on the campus. So again, this is not what you pay. This is what we use to determine how much aid your student could potentially receive. Just like the baby picture, sorry. Okay, move on. All right, so there's 4 main types of financial aid. You have your miscellaneous aid, your local aid, the aid that's in the area, crazy scholarships. This is just considered miscellaneous scholarships. Institutional aid, this is aid that you'll find at the college. This could be merit-based, this could be need-based. This is where the majority of your money will come from. So if your student is planning on applying to several colleges, make sure that they are applying for scholarships at those institutions as well. Federal aid, it's your Pell Grant, your work study, student loans. And finally, your state aid, your Hope Scholarship, Tennessee Promise, and a few other programs that we offer. I want to point out on this one, I get it. Your student might want to go far, far away, like University of Hawaii. I'm getting away from my parents. I get that. You just can't take your state aid with you. So if you qualify for aid here in Tennessee, Tennessee aid stays in Tennessee. So your Hope Scholarship will stay in Tennessee. You can't take it to University of Miami. All right. So we're going to start with federal aid. So regardless of where your student's planning on going to school, you will need to fill out that FAFSA application. So to your institution, your trade schools, your four-year institutions, your private schools, in most cases, you are going to have to fill out that FAFSA application. That's the free application for federal student aid. The FAFSA application asks basic information to determine that EFC, your income, your assets, your family size, how many people are going to college. This is what they get that EFC from, is that information. The FAFSA application is used by the state. This is the application, this is the only application for the Hope Scholarship. Your institutions need it because they need to determine how much aid they can give you, taking that cost of attendance minus the EFC. It's how much they can figure out how much they can give you. And then some scholarship programs require that you fill out the FAFSA application. And don't forget, your student will need to fill out the FAFSA application every year while they're in school. And if they're seniors, they get to start right now, which is awesome. All right. So for seniors, the 2019-20 FAFSA application will be the application that they are wanting to apply for. So if they're going to school in the fall of 2019, spring of 20, and they go on to the FAFSA application, they have 2 choices. You've got the 18-19 award year available, as well as the 19-20 award year available. So if your student is graduating early, then they're probably going to want to fill out both applications. Okay, just keep that in mind. A student and parent will need to create that FSA ID, that username and password. The student will create one, log into the FAFSA application, go through the whole process. They get to the tax part. It's going to ask for the parent information. You'll log in the parent information with the FSA ID, and then you can finish the FAFSA application, sign, and submit. So it's pretty easy. And hopefully, you guys will be able to use the IRS data retrieval tool. This year, it's been kind of finicky, but it basically just pulls in your income tax. So if you're filling out the 1920 FAFSA application, it's asking for your 2017 income tax. And that's the tax that it will try to pull in from the IRS. And there's an app. I love this app. Brand new. You can download an app. If you've ever filled out TurboTax, it's that easy to fill out the FAFSA on your app. Like you're literally, like you still log in with the username and password, but you can actually sign with your finger on the app. It's so cool. I'm a techie person, so that is awesome that you can do that. I actually did my FAFSA while I was driving on the way to a presentation. It was so easy though. A stop sign. It was just, okay, don't do that. But just know it's that easy. All right, FAFSA application looks like this. Make sure that if you type in FAFSA.com or FAFSA.net, it should look like this. Just make sure that you're not paying for the FAFSA application, because there are some sites that will charge you like $99. I mean, it might look like this one, but you'll know that you're at the wrong one when you get asked for a credit card number for $99. Don't pay. It really is free. Do not pay for the free application for federal student aid. And if you need help, there's help available. We have workshops here. The colleges will have workshops. It's my grandbaby, so I'm just trying to make it entertaining for me. Probably not for y'all. But it is easy. There's some help numbers. You have chat lines that you can go to, or you can reach out to the state. We can help you. I've got some brochures to pass out to you guys in just a minute. But our information's on the brochures if you guys need help with anything with the FAFSA or anything with state aid. All right, so the maximum amount you can receive in the federal Pell Grant, again, this is based on need. This is money that you do not have to pay back. For the 18-19 and the 19-20 award year, the maximum amount in federal Pell is $6,095. So if your student is full-time in the fall and full-time in the spring, they'll get half of that in the fall and half of that in the spring. FSEOG, this is based on exceptional financial need. Your student could receive up to $4,000 in addition to the federal Pell Grant. Work study, if your student is interested in work study, this is one of my favorite programs. So the student will be able to work on the campus. They get paid minimum wage. It is a need-based program. However, the colleges also have institutional work study. So if your student wants to work on the college and get paid or have some of their tuition paid for, check into this program. It's a great program. I know for federal work study, you'll need to select, yes, I am interested on the FAFSA, and then follow up with the college, because there should be a separate application for institutional and work study programs. Hate this page, but I get it. You might have to have a student loan. So right now for subsidized and unsubsidized, the interest rate is fixed at 4.45, and the parent plus loan is fixed at 7%. The maximum amount a student can receive in student loans, the federal student loans, is $5,500 for their first year. And student aid report. So once you've submitted the FAFSA application, I moved some slides around, so I'm hoping I'm not confusing you guys. So once you've submitted that FAFSA application, you are going to receive a confirmation email. And the confirmation email basically just says, hey, we've submitted your FAFSA application. It will take 3 to 5 business days for us to process your financial aid. We will send you an email to let you know that it's been processed. And I highly recommend you going back to look over your student aid report. And I should have some pictures of it here. All right, this is what it looks like when you get ready to log back in. So let's say you've submitted that FAFSA application. What happens next? That email comes telling you that your student aid report is ready. Click, log back in, there it is. Click on your student aid report. It's going to open up and look like this. If you're going to have an EFC number. That's your expected family contribution. If there's an asterisk beside that EFC, congratulations, you've been randomly selected for verification. So again, that's a good way to let you know that you've been flagged, and the school's probably going to be following up with you. But FYI, this is normally how it works with the colleges, the institutions. The student will get an email. Well, the student will have a student portal. The college will issue them their own email address. The college will send the student an email saying you've been flagged for verification. Guess what? The parents never know. the parents don't receive this information because sometimes it doesn't get passed on for whatever reason. So I highly recommend looking at that student aid report. If you are flagged for verification, let your student know that they should be getting an email in the spring that there's some additional documents that you're going to need. Most of your schools, you can just upload them now onto their portal, but some of them you actually may have to bring into the school, so just kind of keep that in mind. The school will notify the student. The school probably will not notify you, okay? Unfortunately. All right, a few issues that we have when you're filling out your FAFSA that we've seen across the state, across the country, is Social Security number. Let's say you've created your FSA ID and it's not working, you're not able to sign the FAFSA application. More than likely it's your Social Security number, maybe the numbers got transposed, date of birth maybe is not missing. Those are a few things that we have issues with. This is another one that we have a lot with our freshmen, our high school seniors when they're filling out the FAFSA application. They're putting that their grade level when they start college in 1920 is going to be a first year graduate professional. I'm guessing they're probably not. I'm pretty sure they're high school graduates. So degree that they're working on, most of the time they're saying, yeah, I'm going to be a doctor when I start the 1920 award year. You might be working on that degree, but you're not going to have your doctorate degree in 1920. So make sure they either put first bachelor's degree, an associate's degree, or a certificate. Don't let them put a graduate degree or undecided. And then income tax, if you have, for some reason, have to enter your taxes manually, another issue is it's very deceptive on that FAFSA application. When you're going from parent information and you're entering it manually, it's wanting to know what tax did you file, how much income did you make, and then it goes on to the next page and it's asking the exact same questions. If you look up at the top, you'll know that you went from parent information to student information. So it doesn't alert you. If you're not paying attention, you might be putting down that you make $200,000 and then your student's making $200,000 as well. You'll get flagged for verification, just let me tell you, if you put your income and your student's income as the exact same. And then parent and student report the same income. That will flag you for verification. But you can always go back and make those corrections. So I'm going to show you how to make corrections if you have to make corrections. When I say corrections, it's not just changing things that might be wrong. You can list up to 10 schools on your FAFSA application. And let's say your student is interested in 12. Well, you're going to have to make corrections, take 2 off and add 2. Because you can only list 10. Let's say your student puts down Vanderbilt, UT, and Miami, and that's it. And they've decided, yep, I'm going to Harvard. They're going to have to go back to the FAFSA application, make corrections, and update the school. So again, making corrections is not correcting errors per se. It's making some changes to your FAFSA, which is perfectly okay. So you'll just log in. Looks like, just put some screenshots on here for you. And you can update any of the screens on the FAFSA application. You can jump through the tabs because you've got student demographics, school selection, dependency status, parent demographics, financial information, and then you'll have to sign it again if you make corrections. All right, so now what? You filled out that FAFSA, you have a student aid report. I recommend, again, you read over it carefully. Ruthie, will you pass that out? Oh, she's already ready. This is Ruthie from Ed South. Yeah, sure. Okay, so read over your student aid report. The school will use that EFC to determine how much need-based aid they can give you. They're going to put together that award package for you. If you've been admitted to college, you've submitted your FAFSA application, you indicated those schools, you're going to get an award letter. Now, the award letter might look like this. It could be on the student's portal, where they'll put all the aid that they're offering you. If you've applied for several scholarships, that should be included in your award letter. Student loans, depending on where you're going, may be packaged together with that award letter. So don't be like my middle son that was like, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. He was going to UT Martin and he didn't need all that money, but he was accepting a loan that he didn't need to have. He just didn't need it his first year. So make sure you're paying attention to what your student is saying, yes, I want. Institutional aid, this is just an example of how some of your schools use merit-based aid. So this is actually the numbers for University of Kentucky. So the higher the ACT, even if it's just a little higher the ACT and higher the GPA, your scholarships will increase drastically. And then I'm going to let Miss Ruthie talk about scholarships since she's walking in the back. There.
Yeah. Actually, I'm not being
Okay.
I'm pretty loud. So I'm Ruthie Cawood, and I work for SAF, which is a nonprofit here in Knoxville, and we offer an outreach program, and it's on the East Tennessee Outreach Counselor. And I gave out this booklet. We offer some different college and career planning resources. Sorry. I'm sorry. So one of the resources I want to mention is our career assessment website. It's called planningyourdreams.org. This is a website where students can take career assessments, look at different jobs that they're matched up with. There's a resume builder on there. There's a college search. So there's some different features on this program. So if your students are still kind of trying to figure out maybe what they want to do, or if they just want to have access to that resume builder or some of the other features, they can go on to that website, and I can provide a code. We don't have the code, right? So the students, when they register, will just need an activation code that links their information to CAK. And so that's something that I can email to you guys. And if any of your students are interested, it's a great career assessment website, interest, skills, and work values. So I don't know if any of them have taken any career assessments, but it's a fun program to use. And the other website that I want to mention is the eCampusTours.com website that's listed on the booklet that I handed out to you guys. This is kind of an overview of the FAFSA application and of that financial aid process that Ms. Rita's been talking about. But in terms of scholarships, really there's not a limit to how many scholarships students can apply for on the scholarships through different outside organizations. So probably the best advice that I could give is just to tell students to be really proactive and diligent, and to almost make it their part-time job. Their full-time job as a student, but to get on the computer every week and really just say, I'm going to find 1 or 2 or 3 scholarships that I can apply for. And typically on those scholarships through private organizations, they can use those at in-state or out-of-state schools. I would also encourage students to check the school's website, maybe even set a reminder on my phone. You guys I'm sure have scholarships listed on the website, and just go on there, maybe one day each week and check and see if there are any scholarships that have been updated as well. There are some other websites that you can use. FastWeb, did you already talk about that? Oh, yeah. So there are other websites that you can use. There's a scholarship out there for just about everything you can think of. You can Google weird scholarships and you'd be surprised at what's out there and available. So not all scholarships are based on merit. There are scholarships based on creativity, leadership, community service, short essays. And so really just encourage your students to be proactive and to apply for as many of those outside scholarships as they can, because again, there's not really a limit on those. Thank you guys for letting me talk to you for a few minutes.
Yes. All right, so we're going to go over some state programs that we have. So in the brochures that Miss Ruthie passed out, I don't know if you guys got that. Okay. If your student is planning to go to a school in Tennessee, if they have a 21 ACT or a 3.0 GPA, they've already, when they graduate high school, they've already earned the Hope Scholarship. So 21 ACT or a 3.0 GPA. If they're going to a 2-year institution like Rome State or Pellissippi, they're eligible for $1,500 a semester. If they're planning on going to a 4-year institution in Tennessee like UT, University of Memphis, TSU, they're eligible for $1,750 a semester, same requirement. Only application is the FAFSA application. General Assembly Merit Scholarship and Aspire Award. These are supplemental scholarships to the Hope Scholarship. So for the GAMS, General Assembly Merit Scholarship, if your student has a 29 and a 3.75 GPA, they can get an additional $500 on their Hope Scholarship. So that's going to stack. Aspire is based on need. Parents, when you fill out the FAFSA application with your student, if your adjusted gross income is less than $36,000, you could get an additional $250 at a 2-year institution or $750 at a 4-year institution. But if you qualified for both, the student would receive the higher of the two. So how does your student keep the Hope Scholarship? We don't actually check your grades until your student has attempted 24 credit hours. So basically that's 12 credit hours in the fall and 12 credit hours in the spring. So in the end of the spring semester, we will check their GPA, and they'll need to have a 2.75 to keep their Hope Scholarship. Check it again after 48 attempted hours. Again, they must have a 2.75. But once they've attempted 72 credit hours, the GPA does increase. You do have to have a 3.0 GPA, but if you've made it to the 72-hour benchmark and you have a 3.0 GPA, your Hope Scholarship goes up to $22.50 a semester. And I cannot stress this one enough. I have lots of students that start, maybe they've registered for 12 credit hours, and for some reason, day one, they're sitting in their class and they're like, I cannot sit through this professor. There's just no way. Don't drop that class until you find out from the financial aid office or your success coach what impact it will have on your scholarships. So for Tennessee Promise, if your student is a Tennessee Promise student and they drop from 12 to below 12, they've lost Tennessee Promise forever. They could potentially lose Hope Scholarship as well. So make sure if for any reason, if they're not going to replace that class with something else, they need to talk to the financial aid office and see if they have some other options, because I don't want them to lose their scholarships that they've earned. A few other programs that we offer: Walter Navy, TSAA, Ned McWhorter. If you open up the brochure, it breaks down all of the different scholarships and how to apply, the requirements, the website. It gives you all of that information when you open it up completely, and it talks about each program. Walter Navy, if your student's planning on going to a TCAT, Tennessee College of Applied Technology. TSAA, this is the Tennessee Student Assistance Award. This is basically like the state's Pell Grant. So if you do think that you need need-based aid, you do need to fill out your FAFSA application before February the 1st, because unlike the Hope Scholarship, where we will not run out of Hope Scholarship money. We could potentially run out of TSAA money. Generally, we actually go probably into June awarding, but to guarantee that you're not going to miss out on need-based TSAA, fill out your FAFSA before February the 1st every year. Ned McWhorter Scholarship, this is one of my favorite scholarships. It's up to $6,000 a year. Basic requirements: 29 ACT and a 3.5 GPA. Kicker on this one is we only offer 50 students a year this scholarship. This is just the basic requirement. We actually look at other things like leadership, the classes that they're taking in high school, what are they doing to improve society. They look at everything, rate the student, and out of the 50, we'll offer the award. Last year we had 4,000 students apply for this scholarship. So if you're interested, this application actually opens January of 2019 for my seniors, and they have to have it completed by around February the 15th. So if they are interested in this program, to just make sure they talk to the guidance counselor, because they'll need some additional stuff with it. All right, this guy, Governor Haslam, in 2014 started the Drive to 55 initiative, which was to get at least 55% of Tennesseans with either an associate's degree or a certificate. So for my parents in the room, if you guys want to go to school for free, we have the Reconnect program. So you can go to school with your student. When I have high school students in here, they're like, no way, I'm not going to school. But that's one of the programs we have with Tennessee, with our new Drive to 55 initiative. But for my high school seniors, we have the Tennessee Promise program. So it is for high school seniors. It is for 2 years of tuition free at any of our 13 community colleges in the state of Tennessee or 27 Tennessee College of Applied Technology. So they can go to any of those schools tuition free. It is a last dollar scholarship, meaning that, and I'll give you some examples in just a minute. It is a last dollar scholarship, meaning it will cover tuition and fees after your Hope Scholarship and your federal Pell Grant has gone onto your account. And the student will be paired with a mentor, just as someone that's going to guide them along the process. Here's the thing with Tennessee Promise, it's not based on your grades, and it's not based on how much mom and dad make or don't make. It's based simply on doing this checklist, which is on one of the panels in your brochure. So they have to apply for it. Do you have 100%? Nope, okay. This is a great plan B, guys. I just can't stress this enough. This is a great plan B, backup plan. If your student is dying to go out of state, I get it. If you don't apply for it and you decide to stay in state, you've lost it forever. The thing with this one is you have to do every single thing on the checklist. There's no appealing this unless you're entering the military or you're in basic training. There are a few appealable reasons, but not doing stuff on the checklist is not appealable. So you have to apply for it. The application is open right now. You must have your application submitted by November the 1st. The application is in that brochure. You have to complete the 1920 FAFSA application by February the 1st, 2019. You'll attend a spring mandatory meeting. So have you guys already had your first meeting? No. They are coming, right? So when is your first meeting? No, that's okay. There is a meeting in the fall where Tennessee Achieves will come in and explain the program to the student. That one's not mandatory. I do recommend that they show up so they'll understand what they're supposed to be doing. The meeting in the spring is mandatory. It's generally in the evening, and parents, you're not required to come, but the student is required to attend. The next one is complete 8 hours of community service, and this can be done between November the 2nd and July the 1st, and they'll repeat the community service every semester that they're in school. But like I said, if your student is wanting to go to a 2-year institution and just get the basics out of the way, it's a great program. Great program to get your undergraduate degree half off. This is how the last dollar scholarship works. I want to give you some examples. So students go into Pellissippi for 1 semester. Tuition is $22.50. The student is receiving the Hope Scholarship, Federal Pell Grant, and the Tennessee Student Assistance Award. So in this example, good news and bad news, even if the student has done every single thing that they were supposed to do with Tennessee Promise is not going to pay any money towards their remaining balance because their tuition's being paid by other sources. So Tennessee Promise will not pay on that one. The good news on this one is they're probably going to get a refund check from the business office to go pay to go pay for books or gas or a laptop. They're just not going to receive Tennessee Promise money. Second example, same school, but I'm only receiving Hope Scholarship. Mom and dad make too much money. I'm not receiving Pell Grant or TSAA. So I'm getting $1,500 for Hope Scholarship, but I still owe the school $750 in tuition. But I've done everything on that Tennessee Promise checklist. Tennessee Promise will pay the school that $750 for tuition. So last example, mom and dad made too much money. I didn't do that great in high school, so I don't have any money to pay tuition and fees. But I've done my Tennessee Promise, so Tennessee Promise will pay the entire amount of tuition and fees. And again, all you're doing is community service hours and doing everything on that checklist. That's it. And you've got money for school. And one of my favorite things, and I don't believe this is in that brochure, which makes me sad. They took this website out. All of our public universities and 21 private universities accept this program. It's called the Tennessee Pathway. TennesseeTransferPathway.org is the website. Tennessee Promise is a very degree-driven program, meaning your student will be going to one of those schools, specifically taking classes for a degree. So they're not out taking random classes like basket weaving when their major is something completely different. They're taking classes just for this degree. All of those classes that they're taking at those 2-year institutions will transfer to those 4-year institutions. So again, you're basically getting tuition half off for your bachelor's degree, for your undergraduate degree. And just a few other programs I want to just miscellaneous things, not state programs. Let's say that academic common market, let's say your student is wanting to major in marine biology. Well, to my knowledge, Tennessee doesn't offer marine biology. You're going to have to go out of state, which means you'll have to pay out of state tuition. Unless the college that you're wanting to go to participates in academic common market. Most of our southern states participate in this program. So if your student is interested in a degree that we do not offer here in Tennessee, they can go out of state and get in-state tuition at that out-of-state school. Just one kind of tip. Next one is your CSS profile. A lot of your Ivy League schools ask that you fill out the CSS profile. This is one of the best need-based programs I've ever seen. So it's like the FAFSA application, but it's like FAFSA times 50,000. They ask for everything. The FAFSA is just asking for some key elements, whereas the CSS profile wants to know everything, all the money that's coming in and all the money that's going out, so they can determine need-based aid. So just kind of goofing off with Vanderbilt's numbers. When I was younger, I had 7 brothers and sisters. Vanderbilt's CSS profile is kind of built in, just the sample in their net price calculator. And I wanted to see what it would be like, how much it would cost me to go to school. Growing up, I had 7 brothers and sisters. 4 of them were in college when I started. So needless to say, my parents were broke, like really broke. So according to the built-in CSS profile, I mean, again, this is just a sample of the net price calculator, the CSS profile, just a sample. I could go to Vanderbilt for $65 a year instead of $65,000 a year. So schools that offer CSS profile, and again, these are your Ivy League schools like, Rhodes, Vanderbilt, and Harvard, and Yale, most of those schools participate in that CSS profile. So if you think you might qualify, it's a separate application that you will have to fill out. It does cost money, but you'll just talk to the financial aid office, make sure the school that you're wanting to go to participates in it. It doesn't hurt to fill that application out if the school offers it. But I think Vanderbilt's probably the only one in Tennessee. We might have one more in Tennessee, but those 2 are the only one in Tennessee that offer the CSS profile. Fee discount program. Well, folks, that might be you guys in the room. You guys might be a great source for paying tuition other than what's coming out of your checking account or your pocket. You guys might actually work for a company that offers fee discount programs. If you work for the state of Tennessee, they give you a fee discount for your student to go to school. So talk to your HR department, because that might be a great source to kind of supplement some of your scholarship. I didn't do it. I broke it. That's just telling me it's time's up, right? Probably. Time's up. Hello. The clicker? Oh, I'm almost done. Okay. Hello. I could sing. Okay, I really can't. I only know one song, and it's Sound of Silence. Okay, so this is what your student needs to be doing their senior year. So for the fall semester, they need to be taking and retaking the ACT, because you guys saw how drastically it could change just by one number what the institution might give you in institutional aid. Apply to several colleges, admissions, institutional aid, and make sure you're using that net price calculator. Your student and parent will need to create that FSA ID if you had not already done so and you're getting ready to fill out your FAFSA. Best thing, has everybody created the FSA ID? I like just waiting till you get ready to sit down in front of the computer and create the student's FSA ID, log in with the student's FSA ID, go through the student's portion of the FAFSA application until you get to the parent's portion. When you get ready to link to the IRS, that's when you'll need the parent's FSA ID. If you do not have one at that time, click on the button that says create one. You'll have another screen pop up. Create your username and password, then log back into the FAFSA and you can link to the IRS. Then when you get to the very end of the application, you don't have to enter anybody else's username and password. It's already built in. You've already put it in for that session and hit submit. It's that easy. Yes, she had a great comment. Please write it down. Please, please, please. If you're not taking a picture of your username and password, write it down. You also now have the option to confirm your telephone number and confirm your email. I recommend doing both, because if you forget your username and password, you can easily reset it and you won't have to spend hours on the phone with somebody like the IRS, because sometimes the FSA ID hotline can be that long of a wait. So write everything down. take a picture of it and keep it in a safe space. And then your spring semester, complete your FAFSA application, and I recommend doing the FAFSA application by February the 1st. The spring semester, make sure you're completing those local scholarships, and those scholarships that Ms. Ruthie was talking about as well. Review college acceptance letters, compare financial aid packages, and ask questions. If you have any questions about the financial aid process, or maybe something that you're being offered on your award letter, ask, because the financial aid's office is there for you, the admissions office, they are there to help you. So if you have any questions, make sure you're just asking, or ask me. Okay, more grandbaby pictures. I promise that's the end of it. You get one more. Yeah. So my information's on the back of that pamphlet you guys have. I'm number 7. Just reach out, my telephone number. You can text that number. You can email me. It's probably easier to email me or text me because generally I'm on the road driving to all of those counties, and I get lost quite frequently. My GPS and my phone, they do not work well together. So just give me a call. So do you guys have questions? Because that was a lot of information. That seriously was 3 hours of information in 45 minutes. No? Good? Do you guys know who to put on your FAFSA application? Like, I get this a lot. I guess signs of times. I have some parents that have remarried or they're divorced. Whose information do you put on there? The easiest way to look at it is, let's say that you are divorced or remarried. So who does the student live with? So mom and dad, they're divorced. Who does the student live with? If the student lives with mom the majority of the time, if a student lives with mom, you'll use only mom's information. That's it. If mom's remarried, you're going to use mom and stepdad's information on that student's FAFSA application. Okay? You're not entering dad's information at all. So then let's step back. Let's say mom and dad's divorced. I'm living with dad 50% of the time. I'm living with mom 50% of the time. Doesn't matter who files them on the taxes. Doesn't matter if it's your turn to file. It doesn't matter. The question is, who does the student live with the majority of the time? That's 50-50. The next question is, who supports the child? Who provides the majority of support? If that's 50-50, pick a parent. And I recommend picking the parent with the less amount of money, just for your students, just to help your student out. It really doesn't matter at that point. If it's 50-50 across the board, pick your parent. But just remember, if either one of your parents are remarried, you've got to use mom and stepdad or dad and stepmom. Does that make sense? Okay. You guys have any questions? That didn't trigger any questions? No? Okay. I'm going to pass the mic off.
All right, guys, I know that was a lot of information. We're hoping to send out a video recording of this so that you can look back on it. And maybe the PowerPoint also, Yeah. So we'll also send out the PowerPoint. If as you think about it or as you start working through the process, you do have questions, you very well might, because it can be, once you get into it, a little bit confusing. Sometimes things come up. Don't hesitate to contact us. We're a great starting point in the process if you need help with it. You can email, you can call, you can stop by and schedule an appointment to come in, whatever works best for you. We're glad to walk with you through this process. So feel free to reach out if you need us at any point. Thanks so much for coming tonight. Hope you guys have a great night.